All right, so welcome back to the podcast, everyone. And today's guest is Nitin, but he also goes by John Abraham. Okay, Nitin John Abraham. He goes by either name. He's a warrior, just like me. But he's been in real estate for many years prior to that. And since joining the warrior program, he's taken massive
Massive
action,
action.
which is our whole catchphrase. And he's grown to over 200 doors. So, Nitin, thank you very much for being on the podcast. And let's jump right into the questions. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
thank you for having me. Thank you for having
okay.
me. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, great, 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 great. How did you first get into real estate? What inspired you, and what was the moment where a light bulb went off in your head and you decided that maybe to focus on multifamily specifically?
Yeah, so it may be a little long story. Culturally, I'm originally from India, and
Hmm.
I grew up in a family where my parents, my father, my grandfather, everybody was involved in construction and real estate. And growing up as a kid, one of the big things of turning into an adult is owning your own home.
Yep.
So owning property is a big thing culturally, and it's kind of ingrained in you. Like you own a property, you buy another one, and you keep property. The idea is to acquire but never sell, and then pass
Hmm.
it down over
To the next
generations.
generation. Yep.
That's generational wealth, right? So that I know we talk about that in the group. We talk about that in just the real estate circles. So that was always in my head. The impetus to starting real estate and long distance investing from because I live in California in the San Francisco area was my wife. We were trying to save up for another house here, as you know, everything in California is like millions, and she was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, let's go to the Midwest." And so we started investing in Kansas City, Missouri,
Hmm.
and and we started buying there and growing, and we got to a point where we could only do so much ourselves,
Hmm.
and I'd been listening to Rod's podcast. I'm like, okay, so this it was just a natural progression was to
Yep.
jump into multifamily and get bigger. So.
Okay. So quick follow-up question. Why why Kansas? How did you pick that
But
market exactly? Uh-huh.
yeah, sure. My wife's from Southern Missouri, and she had friends and real estate agent friends who were in the real estate market in the Kansas City, Missouri area. So at that time there was good rents, and this was 2018, 2019,
Hmm.
and you could buy in a B minus neighborhood homes, single family homes is what we started with, singles and duplexes for
Yep.
30, 40 grand for a single family and 120 grand for a duplex, and so it was for somebody who hadn't really done it, it was a good opportunity to just get your feet wet. 30 or 40 grand, even if you say things go south, it's recoverable, right? You
Right,
can
right,
recover
right.
from something like that. So it was just a confluence of the market, the rents we could get, and the fact that we knew somebody to kind of be boots on the ground and advise us on the neighborhoods that got
Hmm.
us into that market. And we've stayed there, and it's been a great market for us.
Okay, okay. And sorry, another follow-up question. So a $30,000 house, what's the rent like?
So the first house I bought, I paid 32,000, put 8,000 in renovation, so it's 40,000 in, and it
Yep.
rented for 675.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
Okay, so
so
good.
well over the
Well over the
1%
1%
rule,
rule. Yeah.
well over the 1% rule, and this at this time, interest rates were in the high fours because it dipped
Hmm.
after that, so it was in the high
Yep.
fours, and it was great. Um, 4.7. So yeah, 675. So it was well over the 1%. So it was like, okay, if as you start your real estate journey, you learn about the bigger pockets and 1% rules and things like that. So I was like, okay, this checks off these boxes, and off we
Yep.
went. So
Okay.
yeah.
Great, great, great
And
start then.
and
Sorry.
that house we sold for 130,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So it built up equity. I mean, we've put 20, $30,000 into it, improving and so forth, but
Hmm.
it's cash flowed relatively well, and given us a good return on our investment.
Okay, great, great. Sounds like you had a good start there.
Yeah.
Um, so can you walk us through your first multifamily deal? The good, the bad, and the ugly. What surprised you the most, and anything, any lessons that you learned? Okay, I'll never do that again. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. The so just before I joined Rod's program, we bought a 6 unit building in
Hmm.
Kansas City, and
Yep.
we were remodeling it. So it's a 1910 building.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So firstly, one thing, would I buy anything older than the 80s? Kind of the parameter that the Warriors work on? Probably not, because it
Yep.
comes with its own problems, right?
Yes.
The electrical panels, the electrical service for the whole building was 80 amps for the
Oh.
whole building. I
Uh-huh.
mean, typical home that is small home that I do in Kansas City, we upgrade the panel, you know, we put a 200 amp or 100 amp panel, the whole
Yeah.
building. So we had to do an upgrade to the panel and put a new service in.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in to put a service in, and the city planning department came back and said, "Oh, 6 unit building's not allowed. This is a residential home. We can't allow you. This is the zoning doesn't allow a 6 unit building in this place." I'm like, what are you
What?
talking about? This building's
Yeah.
been here for 100 years.
Yeah.
So they completely delayed us from getting permit. Like they were like, yeah, put everybody up in hotels and maybe in a few months we'll get you on the city council to see if you can, city planning meeting to see if you can get a variance. It's really
Ouch.
scary times. But
Yeah.
we found the old owner had a variance already, which apparently the city couldn't find. No surprise.
Yeah.
We delayed our project and but we got it going. So I would really not buy anything without absolutely making sure that we're completely zoning compliant.
Yep.
I wouldn't really recommend buying a building that old because it
Mm-hmm.
comes with, you start to remodel. We remodeled the whole building, but then you put your scope of your renovations together, and then you end up adding more and more scope because as you do the remodel, you find more and
Find
more
new
problems,
problems. Yeah.
right? So not something I would necessarily jump into again. And it took us a year to remodel,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't that just because of various little problems? It's stabilized and fine now, but I wouldn't do that again.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least you survived it, so still here,
Survived
still
it.
here. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So how has your strategy evolved since that first deal? So for example, with deal criteria.
Yeah, so that was sort of, pre or sort of on the cusp of the Warrior program. Once we joined the Warrior program, you really understood some of these criteria that warriors with massive success are following, 80s must have copper, plumbing
Mm-hmm.
and must have copper electrical, you start to realize that these criteria are there for a reason, right? You
Definitely,
understand like
definitely.
those are kind of key parameters to success in multifamily.
Yep.
So I really try to adopt those and say, unless we meet these criteria for plumbing, water, there's no galvanized and 1980s build, I'm not looking at them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that has been a big thing that I've learned from the Warriors, Warrior community and kind of really focused on.
Okay. And then how about your risk tolerance? Has that changed?
Well, yeah, it has. When I was doing when we're doing our own deals, it's my own money, right? I can
Yep.
take whatever the risk I want.
Definitely. Uh-huh.
As we've got into the Warrior program, and as I've done now 4 or 5 deals, and I've raised other people's, capital from others,
Mm-hmm.
my risk tolerance is less
Yep.
because I'm using other people's money. I'm promising them returns, so I underwrite very conservatively
Mm-hmm.
and try to be very cautious about how I extend myself in terms of risk.
Yeah. Makes
I,
sense.
I want to be cautious because all of the people that are investing with me, a lot of them are first-time investors.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of hand-holding and helping them understand the returns, the risks, what they get, the benefits. And I want them to be continual investors, right? I want them to invest in multiple deals over the next, I don't know, 10, 15 years. So
Yep.
want to make sure that the first deal is a good one and they
Mm-hmm.
feel good about doing it and they
Then they'll
continue to
come
do it.
back
So,
for more. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And then what about like any mindset shifts after that first deal?
So after I would say the Warrior program and just the community itself has helped with a lot of mindset, the things that Rod talks about. The biggest thing is taking action,
Yep.
just
Massive action.
incremental action. You don't have to have everything perfect. You don't have to have your website and your CRM, like you don't have to have all the stuff built out.
Yep.
just take action. And taking action means, to me, means various things, right? But I'll go like the highest priority to me, and the thing that has given me the most success
Hmm.
has been building relationships,
Okay.
right? Within the community. It's meeting warriors, spending time with them, talking to them on Zoom calls continually. Like there's a group of us that I talk to, in the community that I talk to a lot. You build good relationships. You build relationships, you get to know people, and you dive deep with them. And from that, all my deals have come,
Okay.
right? Uh, as they're like, hey, John, there's this deal, come in with us.
Yep.
So that's one, dive in, building relationship. Two is once, my first big deal of the Warrior program was a 92 unit in Wichita, Kansas.
Hmm.
And from being part of that deal and being involved in Capex and asset management and actually taking a lot of action and taking care of various things that the team needed to be done,
Hmm.
kind of shows to the other partners that you actually contribute a lot to move
Yeah.
the ball forward.
Yep.
That action has resulted in me getting into two or three other deals, right?
Right.
So adding value to your partners is the second big thing,
Hmm.
right? That I think. Uh, then I can go on with like calling brokers, establishing relationships there, underwriting, raising capital, all of those. I think everybody should do a bit of everything
A bit of
and not
everything.
just.
Okay. Yeah. Not just focus on one aspect. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people who are amazing capital raisers, right? They raise millions of dollars, which is fantastic. My goal is to do some capital raising, underwriting, asset management, everything.
Yep.
Investor relations. I like to do everything. Yeah, I'm interested in all of those. So I think it's important to know what each of those aspects take
Yes.
so that you can kind of build your skill set.
Okay, okay, fair enough, fair enough. Hey, if you've got a real estate deal, a problem, or even just a question, we want to hear about it. Doesn't matter if it's big, small, complicated, ugly, or somewhere in between. If it's a good deal, we're absolutely interested. Period. And if you've got capital, you need to put to work in solid real estate opportunities. We've got those too. Either way, let's talk. Here's how this works. We always need more deals. We always need more capital. And we always find a way to make it happen. No games, no runaround. If we can't work together directly, we'll hand deliver you to someone who can. All right, let's talk about, some tips and pitfalls. Um, what advice do you have for someone around finding deals?
Finding deals is just, I think you got to talk to a lot of brokers,
Yep,
right? Talk to a lot of brokers, look at a lot of deals online. Um, I've even heard, I always thought that LoopNet was the place where deals went to
deals going to
die, but
die. Yeah.
but I've heard a lot of warriors talk. Yeah, this one was just laid on LoopNet, and I found it. It was just nobody was paying attention to it. It turned out to be a good deal. So don't dismiss anything,
Yep.
right? Look at all the deals in your criteria on LoopNet, Crexi, whatever website, and then brokers deals.
Hmm.
As we've all heard, there's great buying opportunities coming this year.
Yep.
So so really sticking to those brokers and building relationships with them. Brokers will want to send you more deals when they're confident that you'll actually close a deal.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
You
Okay.
gotta you gotta sort of prove yourself to brokers that you're actually not just all talk and that you'll close,
Yep.
right? So talking to brokers, I do a lot of underwriting and then I call the broker and I walk through things with
Underwriting.
them,
Okay.
underwriting and tell them why this. So I think that builds credibility to that
Hmm.
you actually know what you're going to do. So
Yeah.
I think building credibility with brokers is important.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you said there. How about so after you find the deal and then, getting into the operations and actually executing on your plan, what are what's some what's some tips that you have there?
Yeah, when it comes to, let's say you close this deal, and you're going into asset management and capex stuff on a big deal. the key, I think one of the keys is making sure that all of the from in your GP group, everybody has a specific role
Yep.
and 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 that the team is completely aligned on each person's deliverables, right? And then keeping our team together and everybody executing their role is critical. So make sure everybody knows what their role is, what they're
Hmm.
expected to do, and the timeline to do it.
Yep.
Um, and that way you can have a well-oiled machine, right? Somebody's watching Capex, somebody's talking to the property manager and getting the reports, somebody's analyzing the expenses, somebody's talking to the maintenance people about any repairs, um, just various aspects as required for your asset, right? And really dialing in that really helps manage it efficiently.
Okay. Okay. I like the answer as well. So one more question there about tips and pitfalls. How about exiting a deal? I'm not really sure if you've gone full cycle with any deals yet, but any advice there?
No, I mean I have not gone full cycle on any deal, but I think one of the things that we talk about in my deals with our partners is everything that we do on the asset, right? Like whether you're doing repairs, maintenance, or big capital expense, like
Yep.
you look at it from perspective of, okay, how does this set us up for our exit?
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Hmm.
are we okay? Let's say you have a 100 unit building. Are you remodeling everything, putting in new landscape? Are you making it completely cherried out? Where then, when you try to sell it, the new buyer's like, well, there's no
Yeah. What can I do? No
opportunity.
value add for me.
Yeah, there's no meat
Yeah.
on the bone. There's no value add for me. So we have that discussion. Even though we're early in our deal in Kansas, we still consider how the things that we're putting in affect the exit, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to keep that in mind as you strategically do improvements and capital expenses in your property. Obviously, you need to do them, right? That are required, but think about the exit. And keep that in the forefront because 5 years will come quick,
Hmm.
or if that's your business plan.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the rapid fire round, and I'm just gonna throw questions at you, and just don't think too much. Just tell me what comes to your mind. Whatever. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter what
yeah,
it is.
sure.
Okay. So the first one is how about like your worst tenant story?
Well, I'll tell you my not worst, like startling tenant story from our
Okay. Okay.
multifamily.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
we're
Sure.
taking over our asset, and we go into one unit, and this whole unit's covered in grease and oil, and just automotive grease. The carpets are nasty, and we
What's going on
found
in there?
out that the
Uh-huh.
tenant was bringing engine blocks through the window
Oh
into
my
the
gosh.
bedroom, and they were working on engines inside the house.
Okay, well, sorry.
Completely not.
That's funny. That's funny to me. Sorry, sorry. Obviously
It
not.
is
It's
it
not.
is
It's not.
funny, but
Not
yeah,
funny
it's
if you're
funny.
dealing with it, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. And
yeah,
how about your favorite expense saving hack?
yeah. So my favorite thing that I do all the time is with multifamily properties, like when you're remodeling a bunch, you kind of strategically buy supplies, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
use a Lowe's Pro account or a Home Depot Pro account, and let's say you're replacing appliances in 10 units. I buy them
Yep.
in bulk. I get a
Yes.
bulk order, and you get massive discounts. So sometimes it means you have capital outlay earlier than you may have to buy stuff and put it in storage because you're going to
Uh-huh.
remodel over the next few months. But as a team, we talk about that, and I like to take advantage of that because you can get some seriously massive discounts.
Yep.
So you may have to store it, you may have to double handle it a little bit, but that's one of my favorite expense saving hacks is doing that. Um, Another one, if I can quickly mention, is
Definitely.
changing out
Definitely.
all your light bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
Initial cost, I change everything out to LED. Um, it may cost a little bit more, but then once you put in the LEDs, chances are you don't have to replace them for a long time.
Yep.
So that's initially a little bit more expense, but long term, it's a
Long term, it
great
works
win.
out well.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I like both of those. I think they're both intelligent hacks if you ask me. How about, there's a lot of advice floating around in the real estate world. What do you think is like the most overrated piece of advice with respect to real estate?
Overrated, overrated piece of
Yeah.
advice. I mean, I, I would hate to. hate to put any piece of advice in a box as underrated or overrated because I
Mm-hmm.
think each of us are on our own journey, right?
Yes,
We're
yes.
all at
Uh-huh.
different places. Some of us are looking for our first deal. Some people have 10,000 doors and some people have five. So I think the advice is, whatever advice, every piece of advice is worth listening to,
Mm-hmm.
absorbing, and then deciding how it fits into your journey, right?
Okay.
So I don't really like to label anything as good or bad. You
Mm-hmm.
just be open to listen to everything and then implement as it fits into your journey.
Okay, but
Um,
okay, so let me follow up there quickly. So just for you, was there any advice that maybe you took it into consideration, but then you put it into practice and you thought, oh, maybe this doesn't actually work for me?
uh, one of the warriors at a warrior event said, before you buy an asset, you must go look at it. So
Uh-huh.
before we bought the first asset, I actually was flying home. We went, we looked at it, and we walked it, got a great understanding of what you were buying and selling to your investors. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that was a very valuable piece of advice.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that to everybody. You're going to get into a deal, especially a first or second one. Go look at the asset, understand what the asset's all about, what it looks like, what the property's like, and so forth. So I think that was a great piece of advice.
Okay. Okay. And any advice that didn't work for you?
Uh, nothing comes to mind at the moment.
Okay.
I've tried to implement most things that I can. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. No, I don't like to use the word regret, but is there anything that you would maybe do differently?
Yeah, I would have started in multifamily sooner, right?
I hear
I
this
would
all the
have,
time. I hear this all the time. Start sooner, start
yeah,
sooner.
it's
Yeah. So
start
maybe
sooner,
this
right?
is underrated advice right here. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, start sooner, but I talked to some people that are like, oh, I'm gonna get through all of these lessons online. I'm like, no, just jump in.
Hmm.
The key to success is good partners. That's what I talk about relationships. That's number one. Like you find the right partners and this community, the warriors and real estate in general. There's a lot of very generous, giving people. So the skills you don't have others have, and you can
Right. Yeah.
complement your team with other people. You just have to bring a willingness to do and take on and participate and add value. So as long as
Hmm.
you can add value, you can be successful. So uh, that's why I say start early. Don't
Okay.
wait till the education is done because the education's never done.
Yeah, I agree with that. You always got to be learning. You always got to learn new things. So let me go
Yeah.
back to one of the questions that I forgot to ask just now. So because you kind of mentioned something that sparked that idea. So like especially in the Warriors group, we like to talk a lot about, superpowers, so to speak. So what do you think is like your unfair advantage?
So I've a couple of things. I've spent 20 plus years in construction and large scale construction. So building anything value add, I understand what it takes to build.
Yeah.
I understand budgets and I'm very good with numbers. So like projections for expenses and spreadsheets and things like that with numbers. I do that on our teams. So numbers and capex and repairs, something that I've done my whole life
Hmm.
as part of my day job. So I think that's a big advantage for me because I
Yep.
can do that pretty fast.
Okay. All right. And so what's your best advice for new investors?
My best advice for new investors is one, like be clear on what you're trying to achieve.
Yep.
Um, uh, it's not a race, right? It's not. I know you want to have a 90-day plan and a 6-month plan, but the plan should be more focused on my advice is like finding good partners,
Hmm.
building a team, building relationship all around people, less
Yep.
around the deal, and then the deal will come. Like don't
Okay.
don't jump, don't try to jump into a deal because you want the deal, right? Like the deal's got to be a good one, and so really just focus on building relationships. The rest will come.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So, is there anything that I didn't ask, but you think maybe the audience would have wanted me to ask, or that maybe you wished I asked?
No, I mean, I'd just like to say, when 18 months ago when I joined the Warrior program, I didn't realize, not that I didn't realize, I wanted to, go do the 90-day plan and get the first deal. As I worked with my coach and worked with, met a lot of warriors, I was like, you don't have to chase it. So my mindset changed,
Yeah.
right? I was also hyper focused on, oh, I'm going to just look at assets in Kansas and Missouri. But as
Hmm.
I met more warriors and talked to more people, I became less about areas and I became more about the deal,
Yeah.
right? So,
Okay. Hmm.
so talking to warriors and partners that you will find will help influence the things that you want to do and you start to glean off what's been successful for them. So um I didn't think I'd be at 200 doors, which is great. I'm thrilled. I'm in multiple asset classes. I
Hmm.
like to do all asset classes. So I have multifamily, industrial, hospitality, assisted living, and now maybe a self-storage. So I like all asset classes. So I try
Yep.
to do everything. So I think the key is don't put a bunch of pressure on yourself to like get the deals.
Hmm.
Just work on relationships and learning different components of it, and the deals will come.
Yeah. Actually, coincidentally, this kind of reminds me of something that Rod said to me on an early call because I was like, I don't want to reach out. Why am I reaching out to people? I don't really know anything yet. I want to go through all the lessons and I want to learn this, learn that. And he's like, oh, no, 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 forget all that. Start reaching out, start networking, start building relationships. So it seems like
Yep.
I keep hearing the same thing, and I'm glad that I'm glad that I was coachable and I took that advice. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Okay. So, if somebody, wants to reach out to you, they think, oh, they really like what they heard from you today, and they want to invest with you, or they want to contact you, maybe to ask you some questions and so on. Maybe, how can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me by my email. You can email me. It's John at
Mm-hmm.
absolute-equity.com
Okay.
or on Instagram at nitinvest.com. NITINVESTS.com.
Okay. Okay.
So
Oh,
I'm
sorry. And
I'm
then
I'm active on both.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And then one other question I forgot to ask. Any projects that you're working on right now that you can share or you're excited to share or
Right now, I'm just focused on some of the deals that were closed and just trying to get them set up. Make sure that we have all of our reporting and our, asset management documents in place.
hmm
Not currently not chasing any deals because we've got two or three just set, so we're just working on operations and optimizing all of those deals and getting everything set up because I want to go back to all my investors and give them updates and make sure that they know that their money is secure and
yes.
it's on track.
Yep.
um so so not really chasing, but like I said, most of my deals have just organically come because of relationships,
hmm
right? So I'm not chasing any more deals this year right now. I have a goal of doing a couple of boutique hotels in
Okay.
the last 6 months here. So maybe August on, we'll start looking for those. Me and my wife runs all our operations. So our goal is to do a couple of boutique hotels. So that's our goal for the year.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. And I think maybe we need to talk a little bit more about boutique hotels because it's also something that I'm a little bit interested in that I want to know about.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
Nitin, thank you so much for joining us today in the podcast. I think you provided a lot of value, and I hope to have you back again. Maybe to check in like 6 months, 1 year later, whatever, to see how things are going. Yep. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you very much for having me, and just to lean into the power of people, everything will be successful.
Okay, so remember that everyone, network, 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 build relationships, and never stop. Okay, bye
That's
bye.
right.